Hey everybody, welcome to Brick Vault. Today we are reviewing the Imperial Patrol Battle Pack. Set number 75207 has 99 parts, sells for $15 in the States, 13 pounds or 17 euro, believe it or not, according to Brickset at least, which does make this the highest part to price ratio out of any of the solo movie sets that just came out in the most recent wave. And that's kind of expected. This is a battle pack set. It is primarily a minifig oriented set. So there's actually a bit that I do like about the build for the speeder itself. I'll get into that in just a second. But first, let's focus on the minifigs. Now, the primary guys in the set are, of course, going to be the Imperial Patrol Troopers. The mold for them is, of course, not going to be exactly the same as maybe the regular Imperial Stormtrooper helmet. It looks a little bit different. It's still kind of got a bit more rough around the edges kind of look to it compared to what maybe the First Order had. But once again, this is kind of an older helmet, or just a helmet that's designed slightly differently for whatever type of terrain or job that these guys are supposed to be doing. I do like the fact that there's a lot more black within the body of the trooper. It reminds me a little bit of the Scout Trooper in that way, just because of the legs have a lot more black on them. And I don't know if the helmet really reminds me so much of the Scout Trooper, but I do like that those sort of tubes on the side turn black halfway around. It really is kind of a fun look for the helmet. And of course, these minifigs come with the same sort of standard clone trooper / stormtrooper expression that we've had for quite a long time. Now, the other two figures look pretty standard in terms of the way they're kind of set up, but the names for them are kind of interesting. We've got the Recruitment Trooper, and that's the guy in the gray, as well as a Immigration Officer. That's the female officer. We haven't gotten a female Imperial figure quite in that look before. She's wearing what looks kind of like a Navy officer helmet and has similar printing to armor that maybe a pilot would be wearing. But the dual print for her expressions are unique because she does have a chin strap for the first time. And in general, the printing for the body actually looks pretty darn good. No printing on the legs for her, which makes sense, especially considering this is coming from a battle pack set. And the same can be said for the recruitment officer. The printing for his body is pretty darn standard compared to a lot of what Imperial officers look like, though the detailing is slightly different, which does make him unique. But really the most unique part about this guy is the print for his face. We don't usually get mutton chops and a mustache. Often a Imperial figure with sort of distinctive facial hair like that is either going to be a main character, so it is kind of nice to just have an officer that stands out a little bit from the rest of the crowd for no particular reason. Now, all in all, I would say that I do wish we just got more troopers. Battle packs are for battle. I, in general, wouldn't want a recruitment officer or an immigration officer, and I would wish that at some point we do go back to a battle pack set that's got 3 different types of troopers or 4 different types of troopers. Every now and then LEGO does it, but this is one of the packs that doesn't do that, unfortunately. They all come with stud guns, which, again, it's a battle pack. It would be nice to have sort of the alternate regular blaster rifles and maybe a couple of blaster pistols. Not the case, but this has also been sort of the standard practice for the last couple of years now. Now, generally speaking, I'm not a big fan of stud guns when it comes to minifigures, but I think the stud guns on the speeder itself integrate into the build decent enough. They're both right in the front, and they kind of melt into the body in a way that doesn't sort of stick out like a sore thumb. Now, in general, I would say the build for this is quite strong. It's actually kind of a clever bit of connecting on the inside. But the main thing that I'm happy about with the speeder is the fact that it actually is a speeder that we will see within the Han Solo or the Solo movie. That's usually not the case when it comes to the builds for battle packs. It's like a turret that never existed, or a walker that never existed, or a speeder that looks pretty close to what could have existed. But this is actually something that comes directly from the source material, directly from the movie. So that's kind of cool. It does make it feel a little bit more connected to the rest of the sets that came out for this wave, or at least the solo sets that came out for this wave. So that's kind of awesome. They got some really nice shapes here, just the simple wedge pieces kind of matching up with those lines. It really is a simple build, but it works quite well. And you can see that it is that little 2x2 piece with just 2 studs on the top, so you can sit a minifig down in there pretty easily, of course, if you don't get the the gun accidentally stuck in there. He can ride with the gun, but he doesn't have to. Really good looking build though. The hands don't quite reach the handles there. There's quite a bit of space, but I suppose just the look of it, that actually looks okay, I guess. It would be kind of nice if you could get the minifig hands in there. But everything here is just like attached so well. You can't pull out or break off any of the pieces back here. You know, adjust itself a little bit. There is a little bit of mobility. I don't think it should, or I mean, I don't think it's supposed to have that. It's not like it's gonna fly or anything, but you know, if you want to play around with it, you can. And of course, you can do the same thing for this in the front. So you can mess around with it, and it doesn't really matter. It's kind of cool that you can do that though. You can see every single connection point in this build, and yeah, that is kind of a fun aspect. I kind of like that it's just folded over, and you know, there's enough tension. This thing isn't going to be wobbling out. These little plates aren't going to be coming out, flapping their wings on their own. So that is kind of a nice little aspect of the build. It's put together quite solid. I mean, none of these pieces are really going to be falling off. Maybe there's, you know, this is clipped on, but it's all really there. It's all really solid. And I think that the build for this is probably one of the best builds I've seen for a battle pack set in quite a long time. All right, so final thoughts on this set are that I do like the build. I also like the look of the Imperial Patrol Troopers. The names for these officers are kind of interesting. The fact that that's a recruitment officer and that's an emigration officer is kind of interesting, sort of in and of itself, but you know, the minifigs themselves don't really grab me in any particular way just because we get so many of these types of guys from other battle pack sets. But the main thing that would, I guess, turn me off from this is the fact that the part to price ratio, once again, I mean, battle pack sets are just never really a good deal anymore, which is kind of too bad, just in terms of the actual price that you pay. The figs are good though. I mean, these two figs are good. That's kind of what it's about, but I would prefer to get, yeah, more of them, or maybe a slightly alternate version of the guy where he's got a pack and maybe a larger weapon or something like that. But yeah, I'd say the strongest part of the battle pack is probably the build, and just in general, I do like the look of those guys. Yeah, slightly high price. I don't really have a whole lot more to say about this set. I'm not disappointed or anything. I would say I'm about neutral in terms of the way that I feel about the overall quality in terms of part, price, quality of build, and minifigs included. I'm about neutral on this one. Hey, thanks a lot for watching, everybody. If you enjoy our content and want to help support the channel, you should consider heading on down to our web store, brickvault.toys. We've added a lot of really amazing custom mocks, and every single purchase helps support us as well as the designers that we work with. So we're going to be updating our web store regularly. Make sure to keep checking on back. And thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next time at BrickVault.